This is the Lockpicker 1969, and welcome to my channel, and welcome to the next episode of Interview with the Lockpicker. Today's guest is RacingBlood. Say hi.
Hello, guys. It's nice to meet all of you.
So, where are you from?
Well, I'm originally from Leeds, Alabama, but here in the last 6 years, I've been living in Florence, Alabama.
Okay. So, normally when I interview people, I have a banner up on the interview screen of their YouTube channel. You don't yet have one in your... I know you're working on one, which everybody can look forward to in the next few weeks or so here. But what is the image that we have up for you?
Well, it's kind of a funny story how that image came about. At the old shop I was working at, I had a good bit of free time to mess with my own personal TIG welder. And I was just practicing one day and running some beads, and a good friend of mine had snuck up behind me with his phone and got up under my arm and took that picture for me and did some editing and sent it to me.
Okay. So you're a welder. What kind of welding exactly?
For a living, I do MIG welding. Work in a shop that produces automotive part racks.
Oh, okay.
So we make the racks that end up going to the part manufacturing facilities, and they put their parts on our racks to be rolled around or go down assembly line.
Oh, cool. So how many different kinds of welding do you do?
I'm currently certified in 4 different processes: dual
Wow.
shield flux core, solid wire MIG, stick welding, and TIG welding.
Nice. Okay. All right. So how and when did you get into locksport then?
Well, it was about 2 years ago. I had moved into an apartment. I guess within the last 3-4 years, we've been here, and being a drummer and having thin walls don't really go together. So I had to find something else to occupy my time.
Okay.
Um, I had always been into games like Elder Scrolls, Oblivion, and Skyrim, and the lockpicking part of it had always interested me and was something that I wanted to actually try out in real life. So, kind of taking from that, I figured, hey, why not? We'll jump in and give it a shot.
Okay. So how did you do your initial jump then?
Well, I started looking around for just like an introductory lock, something that I could just mess around with, and come across one of those cheap acrylic lock beginner sets that you can get on Amazon.
Ah,
Got the pick set with it and all that. And,
the Chinesium. Yeah.
oh yes, premium Chinesium.
Yeah.
I ordered one of those and got to where I could get it picked open pretty easy, and then once it really wasn't much of a challenge anymore, I ordered a progressive lock set from Sparrows, and got real familiar with the different pins that came with it. Uh, just kind of went from there as far as that goes.
Okay. Did you stick with the Sparrows picks?
I did for a little while. I guess for probably the first 6 or 8 months that I was seriously picking.
Okay.
Bought several from them. Got their monkey paw, and
Of course.
got a full set of 20,000 picks from them with the handles. But
Okay.
actually, I still use that monkey paw. I've been using it quite frequently here lately on these challenge locks I've been making. Thankfully, these Cal Royals have a pretty open keyway, so.
Okay. Well, we're going to get into your making of some challenge locks in a little bit, but so what did you go to after working with Sparrows for a while?
After working with Sparrows, after watching a lot of YouTube videos, especially from LPL and Lock Noob and them, they always talked about a Peterson gem.
Mm-hmm.
So that got me onto their website, and sure enough, I bought one and went ahead and got a short and medium hook from them as well, and
Yep.
just really like the way they feel and the way they give feedback. So I've still stuck with Peterson since.
Okay. So you mentioned that you got into making your own pins and obviously the whole challenge lock thing, but what made you jump into doing that? Was it having the progressive lock set that caused you to see the pins maybe, or?
Yeah, I mean, seeing the different kinds of pins, it just kind of inspired me to think, what else can I put into a lock?
Mhm.
How can I manipulate this to have different feedback? How can I make this more difficult?
Okay. So
And
go ahead.
went, oh, no, you're fine. Yeah, just ended up going down to the local Harbor Freight and got me a Dremel and a vise and started making pins.
Okay. And that's where the rabbit hole gets started with challenge lock making.
Yes, it does.
So when you're getting going, when you're really getting going and picking, what would you say were some of your favorite locks to pick?
When I was really getting into it, by far one of my favorite locks, even to this day, just to sit down with as a comfort lock, I would say, would be an American 1100 series.
Okay.
It's got just enough in it, keeps you on your toes, keeps you sharp, and without being just overtly difficult and frustrating.
Okay. So, okay, I want to transition to something here because I find this of very much interest. You established a relationship with a local locksmith. Can you kind of
Yes, I
talk up?
did.
Yeah, can you talk about that a little bit? And I want to emphasize kind of why people should try and do this themselves as well.
Okay. Um, when I was first getting started lock picking, around the time that I got my progressive lock set, um, I had called around to a couple locksmiths and come to find the one closest to me. He's located maybe 6, 7 minutes from where I live right now. Um, but I had talked to him and asked him, hey, this might be a weird question, but I'm getting into lock sport and lock picking, and I just wanted to know if you had anything that maybe you were getting rid of, locks you didn't need anymore. And he very enthusiastically said yes. He offered to put me together a little goodie bag, so to say. And sure enough, he had me about 10 different locks, whether it be out of
Wow,
doorknobs or deadbolt,
nice.
kick cylinders, had a little bit of everything in it, and we just sat there and we talked for probably an hour or so and got to know each other.
Oh, that's cool. Now
Mm.
you mentioned that he pinned some things up for you along the way too.
Oh yeah. Before I started making my own challenge locks, I would take him some of my American locks or just different padlocks to him and have him, give me the locksmith special, so to say. And sure enough, he took it as a challenge, and he pinned up some pretty serious locks for me over the couple of years.
I would imagine that had to be fun for him too.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
and he seemed to really enjoy doing it. I'm very thankful for it.
Okay. So, what were some of the challenges you faced in learning how to pick?
Well, definitely trying to get a feel for holding the pick. Was a little awkward at first. Um, Trying to learn the different set positions for the pins. Um, aka, the jiggle test.
Yep.
That was something that took a lot of time to really develop the feel for because it's such a subtle feedback sometimes on these locks.
Yes.
Um, but I'd say probably my two biggest challenges were dealing with serrated pins and learning to navigate some of these tighter, uh, more constricted keyways. How to hold my pick just right to get in there. What ledge to pick off of, things like that.
Okay. So when you were trying to get your feet, and trying to basically get a grasp of what it was about, you said you watched a lot of YouTube, because it was, or what was it, at the end of the pandemic, when you were starting to get involved with watching the videos, if I recall, you had several
Yeah.
different YouTubers that were really kind of influential for you.
Oh yeah. To name the major ones, everyone knows the lockpicking lawyer. He's
Yeah.
got a lot of great content. Lock Noob, especially Bosnian Bill as well.
Oh yeah.
Just the way that they explain how they do what they do really helped it to click with me and kind of put two and two together.
Okay. Anybody else that you found interesting or helpful?
DMAC, as far as the challenge lock making,
Me
he has a
too.
lot of interesting content out there. He's quite a pensmith.
Oh yes, he is. He influenced me as well.
Yeah, love his stuff.
So I have a question. So you've been pursuing the belt ranking system, and you're currently
I'm currently a purple belt.
okay. So you had to go through the whole blue belt requirements. Did your requirement to do the challenge lock for blue belt come before or after you started creating pins and making your own challenge lock? So was this just a requirement that was no big deal for you to get through, or was it your first attempt?
Yeah, I had already been making pins and pinning my own locks for quite a little bit before I started pursuing the ranking system. So it was, kind of just another day in the life.
Okay. So what was your blue belt challenge lock like, and who got it?
Oh goodness. I want to say it was Loose Shirt that ended up with my blue belt lock.
Okay.
Um, it had, I think it had at least one gin spool in it. Had some serrated spools in it. Torpedo style key pins. A little bit of everything.
Okay. Did he have fun with it?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Good.
I think he had made a video on picking it and everything, if I remember correctly.
Okay. Cool. So what are some of the other challenge locks you've put out there then?
Well, let's see. Funnily named, there's the Matt's Balls series, featuring nunchuck pins or ball chain.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Specifically, number 2 was quite a challenge. It's a 6-pin lock having ball chain in 1, 3, and 5. And in 2, 4, and 6, it has gin spools with counter milling.
Oh, jeez. A royal pain in the
Yeah,
butt.
yeah. I've only picked it open once or twice since I made it.
Oh, jeez.
I think that's the one that I had given to Jay Gabriel that he picked on his channel.
Ah, okay. Well, it's always good for Jay to get a little bit back. He puts a lot of evil out there into the locksport universe. So.
Yeah, I whooped him with that one.
Okay, good. Do you hear that, Jay? Good. So, so you got into the community right after the pandemic. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, I hadn't really been very involved up until that point, just kind of doing it on my own. And one day I got invitation, I believe it was from, God, I can't remember who invited me to the server, but it was the Lock Pickers United server.
Yep.
First got involved there. with the challenge lock section,
Of course.
making a lot of locks there and doing some trading back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
Then after that, got acquainted with Jay Gabriel, and he invited me to his server, or another server, Unlocked.
Yep. Yep.
I've been part of those two for, I guess, better part of a year now.
Yep. There's quite a few good servers out there, and it's one heck of a way to learn. So.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of good people out there with a lot of good information, and they're all very helpful.
Yeah, lots of good ideas. So you got on Facebook as well. What Facebook groups have you been involved with?
Locksport enthusiasts and UK lock pickers, just to name a couple, as
Okay.
far as the locksport goes. But I'm also part of a few different, like, collector and trading groups.
Okay. So, okay, next question.
Mm-hmm.
You make challenge locks, but you enjoy picking them too.
Definitely. I believe it really has made me a better picker, picking challenge locks, because, I mean, one, you never know what you're going to get. And two, there's just so many unique pin styles with unique feedbacks. It really teaches you your feel.
Yeah. So, anybody in particular's locks you've found fun and extra challenging?
Goodness. Yeah, Loose Shirt's Old Dog. That is one that I've had on my desk for far too long now. It's a Yale Y, I think this is a Y1 keyway, and I haven't picked it or gutted it yet. So he did mention that there was a bunch of counter milling in it. So
I hate Yale keyways.
oh my goodness, I'm terrible with Yale keyways.
Me too. It's a nemesis. So, okay, so here's a question for you. One of your hobbies, you said, was racing cars and doing autocross. Does that have anything to do with your name that you're using?
Absolutely. My dad's side of the family has always been, mechanics or racers. Oh, my granddad, he grew up in the hot rod era. He was always modifying cars and going drag racing. And my dad, he did circle track racing and autocross.
Oh, wow.
Does track days. And he got me into racing go-karts when I was 11.
Oh, wow.
And I did that for 4 years until I got my permit, and then we started co-racing his car.
Oh, that's cool. Very cool.
I've just been doing that for, 19 years now. On and off, and it's been a good time.
Yeah, that's quite an adrenaline rush too, especially when you're getting up to high speeds.
Oh, yeah.
I definitely remember doing that. So, all right. So, in the Locksport community, are there any particular people that you'd like to give a special thank you to?
Yeah, I would definitely first and foremost like to thank Jay Gabriel. He really took me under his wing as far as making us a couple of different pins, such as the rattlesnake. So much so that, we've met up in person and done classes together.
Very cool.
And he supplied me with a lot of useful tools to make them with. He gave me a jeweler's saw and a soldering iron.
Oh, wow.
A bunch of different tubings to make the pins with. So he's been kind of invaluable as far as that goes.
He's an incredible wealth of knowledge and evil.
Yes, very evil lockmaker.
He's got the T-shirt to prove it. I sent it to him.
Yeah.
Evil genius. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd like to also thank Loose Shirt. He's been very supportive of my challenge locks. We've traded a few back and forth, and just a really good guy in general. Fun to talk to.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Also, of course, like to thank D-Mac for his content.
Yeah,
You know,
definitely.
learned a whole lot about the inner workings of locks from him.
I keep playlists on my YouTube channel for how to do all kinds of different things, picking, making picks, making challenge locks, whatever. And he's been a part of all and many of those lists for years, or a couple of years now. So definitely. All right. So, okay, before we wrap up, what is your favorite thing about locksport?
And that is such a hard question because there's so many great things about locksport. But if I just had to pick one thing, I would probably say it would be making and picking challenge lock.
Okay. Yes, it's a difficult question to answer, and that's why I ask it. And most of the time, people default to the community, but I always interested to hear everybody's response. And definitely, when I got started in the Locksport community, there wasn't a lot of it going on out there, but it has exploded in the last year and a half with challenge locks just really going around and people getting really creative and themed challenge locks and you name it. It's just been awesome to see. So,
Mm-hmm.
so do you have a final message for our audience before we wrap up?
Well, yeah, I guess. I'm gonna have a YouTube channel coming out within the next couple weeks, like he had said earlier in the interview. Be looking for RacingBlood Locksport on YouTube. Um, your local locksmith, he is definitely going to be your friend.
Oh yeah.
Some may not be that great, but some out there, they're really willing to help you out, and that's where I get most of my locks that end up as challenge locks.
Yeah.
And he's just been a good friend in general, so don't be afraid to go to your local smith. And one
Yeah.
final thing, just stay at it.
Yep.
This can be a very frustrating sport at some times, but it's always worth it in the end to get that pop open and just that rush.
Yes, definitely. All right. I want to thank you. This has been a fun. I had a lot of fun talking about several different things in the pre-interview. So not all of them are Rocksport related, but that's fine. That's how we learn about one another, and I always find it fascinating to learn different things about people, and I get to do that with doing what I do. So, with that though, I'm going to start wrapping this up. If you have not been interviewed yet, why not? I do try to make it a very fun process. The pre-interviews are usually filled with a lot of laughs, and we have a good time. So definitely get in contact with me, and let's get something set up. So with that, if you are a subscriber, thank you. If you are not yet a subscriber, please hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications and all, and hit like on the video. And thanks for listening.